making lightened up French fries. Now, unlike some of the other foods from this Lighten Up series, there is not a lot of debate about whether or not French fries are healthy for you. They are a fast food staple, and they are notoriously fatty, salty, and of course, an absolutely delicious food. So even though most people would not say that French fries are a healthy food, I think it is a perfect example of the kind of lightening up I've been talking about in this series. Sometimes life is hard, and going through the drive-thru to grab a bite to eat is the best that we can do, or at least that I can do on a given day. It happens sometimes. Maybe it's the best we can physically do, or maybe mentally and emotionally, and that's okay. Even in January, it's okay. In fact, one of the best practices that helped me in healing my relationship with food was giving myself the permission to indulge or enjoy those less healthy foods in January. Instead of holding myself to this regimented diet, I had to let go of what was good and bad. Now, what's really important is that you lighten up on yourself, letting go of the judgments that tell us we should be doing things differently, right? We do the best we can in each moment, and that's all we can ask of ourselves. That said, sometimes we want French fries, and it's possible to make them at home and lighten them up with an air fryer. And if that's the case, then that's calling to you, then this recipe is for you. Before I show you the recipe though, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of new videos all month long. So today we're making homemade air fryer French fries and sweet potato fries. I prefer Yukon Gold potatoes for fries that I make at home, and this is not a popular opinion. So russet potatoes, or Idaho, are usually used for making French fries because they have high starch content and low moisture, which makes them really great for frying, right? Deep frying. But we're not frying today, and I have found oven-baked French fries can end up either not being crispy or they end up really dry. Now, Yukon Gold potatoes have more moisture and less starch, which isn't as great for frying, but it is good for oven-baked fries, which is essentially what we're doing today by cooking them in the air fryer. So we start by peeling and cutting our Yukon Gold potatoes. I cut them down the middle lengthwise through the thinner part of the potato, so you end up with these two wider halves, and then use a mandolin, or you could use a knife, to cut these into slices about 1/4 of an inch thick. And then I use the knife to slice those into fries. Remember, a smaller fry will be a crispier fry. You could also buy a fry cutter and cut them that way if you want. Once cut, we're gonna rinse our fries in a cold bowl of water and then submerge them completely. And the idea here is to remove as much starch as possible. Remember, Yukon Gold potatoes naturally have less starch to begin with, which is a good thing in this case. If you use russets, people will say, do not skip this step of soaking the fries. And I have found, personally, soaking the fries can help, but it makes kind of like a 2% difference in the final product. So, I say lighten up. If you can soak them, fine, but don't stress if you can't. Even rinsing them helps. Remove your potatoes from the water and pat them dry with paper towels. Now, you want to get them as dry as possible, which will help make your fries as crispy as possible. I believe drying is way more important than soaking in my experience. Once dry, toss your fries with some oil and salt and pepper or whatever seasonings you want, and then it's time to air fry. So add your fries to the basket of the preheated air fryer. Try to keep them evenly spaced out with some space. Don't stack or overlap them, just a single layer. I find it works best to do these in small batches so that they're not overcrowded. Once cooked, feel free to put the fries into a baking rack and into a warm oven to keep them warm while cooking the rest of the fries. Wow! Okay, Yukon Golds are a game changer for air fryer French fries. Admittedly, I tried both the Yukon Golds and the russets. I'm gonna be honest, the russets will get crispier, but they end up so dry and almost flavorless inside. The Yukon Golds, they don't get as crunchy. They definitely still get crispy, and they are so delicious and flavorful inside. They almost melt in your mouth. It reminded me of like a McDonald's French fry. I couldn't stop eating them, and it was awesome to know they weren't deep fried at all. So my choice is a Yukon Gold. If you're going for an air fryer or oven route and want a well-rounded, deliciously flavorful fry, but if your only focus is crispiness, use a russet potato. I also made sweet potato fries, and I did it the exact same way. Peel them, cut them, rinse and soak without any stress. Sweet potatoes have less starch than regular potatoes, so they don't really need to be treated exactly the same. The soaking isn't as necessary. I still dry them, that's important, and then toss with oil and seasonings. A lot of online recipes use cornstarch for sweet potato fries as well. I tried this too, I've done it in the past. It does help to give them a little bit more crisp, but it also makes them sticky. And I don't like holding a sticky fry, and then they also don't taste as flavorful. The natural sweetness of the sweet potato actually didn't come through for me, so I preferred them without the cornstarch. Ultimately, they're still crispy enough. They're salty, they're satisfyingly delicious. If you're like me and love a fried potato in any form, I can safely say that this scratches that itch for me. I personally will always choose regular fries over sweet potato. I don't know, what about you? Let me know in the comments below. And remember though, we don't all have the time or energy or resources to make our own air fryer French fries all the time. What matters is that you're doing the best you can wherever you are on your journey or your stage of life, and that is okay. Maybe the best you can do is go through a drive-thru and enjoy some fries, and I like to do that. I've even talked before on my channel as it relates to healing relationships with food. I believe food actually can be a healthy coping mechanism if approached with awareness and intention, and I'll link some of those videos below if you're interested. But for me, sometimes fast food French fries offer me this comfort that can help me get through a hard time, and it doesn't need to mean that I'm bad or that I'm unhealthy or that I'm doing something wrong. It just means that I like French fries and they're helping me get through a moment. No judgment required. So stay tuned because I have got a veggie burger lighten up episode coming later this month. And if you liked this episode, you don't want to miss that because it pairs perfectly. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you Monday with a brand new lighten up episode. And remember, it's all a matter of mind over munch.